My name is Shuji Madama, a PhD student of Kyushu University in Japan. Today, it is my pleasure to have this opportunity of explaining the outline of our paper. The title is Toward Connected Aftermarket Supply and Service Chain, the case of tire-related services for national truck fleet customers. Let me start with the introduction. This paper considers the influence of digitalization in changing the relationship among the stakeholders of automotive components aftermarket. These stakeholders are vehicle users, component suppliers, and dealers in charge of sales and providing related services. For the analysis, we use a case of the US tire industry, the present relationship between national truck fleet users, truck tire suppliers, and tire dealers. In analyzing the relationship, transaction cost economics, or TC, is applied to assess the mechanism of tire dealers' opportunistic behaviors. We then examine the digitalization strategy of tire suppliers for the future as to how the application of the new technology influence the future relationship. Opportunism is a central concept in the study of transaction cost and is essentially important for economic activities that involve transaction-specific investment in human and physical capital. TCE and the economics of organization are applied to understand the many issues of marketing and retailing better in stakeholders' relationship. We find it appropriate to use TCE as an analytical lens for this study, since it can evaluate the relationship from an economic perspective. Among the dimensions discussed in TCE to understand the stakeholders' relationship, we choose the 6 dimensions for this study that is listed we think are relevant to the case. Let me explain the case. Firstly, I explain the background as to why we use the example of the US truck tire industry to explain the relationship between stakeholders. The US truck tire aftermarket is business-to-business transactions between truck users, tire suppliers, and tire dealers, where the value of the product and services to user is very clear. Also, the US truck tire channel is dominated by multi-brand independent tire dealers, and they have a wide choices of brand, and the fact create the conditions and motivation for opportunism from tire dealers. Also, for the future, the major tire suppliers have started to develop strategies to digitalize their services. So, considering these 3 factors, we choose the US truck aftermarket as a case. This is overview of the US truck tire aftermarket. As for the demand, in 2019, the new tire demand was 19 million units, and also they had 15 million units of literate tire demand. The literate tire is a tire, which put, new tread on a worn-out tire casings for reuse. You can see the concept in the picture. As for the new tire brand in the market, there's no significant dominant powerful brand for new tires, while there's 3 major literating suppliers dominate the market. Independent tire dealer is a dominant channel of new truck tire distribution and is also taking a role in providing tire-related services for tire users. The majority of the US tire dealers are independent of tire suppliers and are commonly dealing with multi-brands. They have multiple service locations and also own many number of servicing trucks. The retreaders are usually tire dealers. They have retread tire plants nearby their tire service locations, and when they contact or visit truck users' location for providing tire-related services, they also collect worn-out tires and put the tread on the tire casings for reselling as retread tires. There are large truck fleet customers who operate so many trucks on a national basis. On the chart, you see the variety of vehicles, trucks, tractors owned by these large customers. Some of their annual tire demand counts for tens or 100,000 unit scale and are large customers of tires and related services. Since they buy a substantial tire volume, they naturally request the price level that reflects their strong buying power. Since they operate their trucks on a national basis in a broader geographical area for long-haul operations, they require consistent and unified and reasonable pricing and also high-quality services everywhere in the nationwide. To meet the requirement of large truck fleet customers, tire supplier offers a direct business program with consistent pricing of tires and related services. Their programs commonly appeal to the national coverage of the servicing network, consistent pricing, and availability of emergency road services of 24 hours, 7 days, everywhere in the country. Only a few tire suppliers have their company-owned channels for servicing truck customers, but the geographical coverage is very limited. So they are working with independent tire dealers to provide nationwide coverage of tire stock point and providers of services for quick tire and service delivery. In this business scheme, the role of independent tire dealers has changed to tire stock and service provider. The profit comes from tire suppliers' payment of service fees, not from hardware sales of tires. Under the business scheme, tire suppliers can directly obtain the information, including how these service providers perform, from truck customers, not from tire dealers. So this direct business scheme has an effect of softening the behavioral opportunism by tire dealers. To gain competitiveness, tire suppliers have engaged in the development of digital technologies by making tires more connected. Some suppliers, such as Bridgestone and Michelin, have acquired fleet management companies as below to link vehicle operation data and tire data. And by doing so, they want to achieve the longevity of new and retread tire life. To achieve the strategy, the role of service provider is essential in providing the right service at the right time. As tire suppliers cannot provide nationwide based service for truck customers, the collaboration with tire dealers as service providers will become even more critical to enabling the digitalized tire business concept, which is under development. Meanwhile, the US independent tire dealers face various challenges, of which the top one is recruiting employees and technicians. With the outbreak of the COVID-19, the shortage must get even more challenging. Digitalized tire management to providing the right service at the right time would present some solution for tire dealers by improving the efficiency of their service-related works. Also, the reduction of workload for technicians of tire dealer is necessary. As seen in the chart below, the dimensions of one of the most popular truck sizes in the US market, 295/75R22.5, weighs as heavy as 114 pounds or 52 kilograms in the metric system without a wheel. Since tire technicians' work include manual labor and heavy lifting, reducing the workload is needed to recruit and retain the technicians. Despite the concept of digitalized connected tire maintenance, the realization hurdle would be high. Although substantial related cost are required, the cost-sharing agreement would be complicated both in hardware and software. There is a solid multi-brand orientation among truck users and tire dealers in the US market that will limit the ability of a single tire manufacturer to build the infrastructure only usable for it. If they build the system, the investment might become transaction specific and may lead to the opportunism by involved parties. Data privacy and data sharing scheme would also be challenges. So even though the technology may become usable, these challenges must be cleared. In the following two pages, we analyze the current mechanism of potential opportunism by tire dealers over tire suppliers based on the TCE dimensions. Transaction-specific investment cause a hold-up effect in tire suppliers and lead to tire dealers' opportunism. However, tires and related services are standardized, and truck users expect standardized services. In this sense, the related assets are not transaction-specific. We believe that the influence of the transaction-specific asset is not applicable in this case. We think that the direct business scheme with large truck fleet customers has lessened the possibility of tire dealers' opportunistic behaviors by reducing behavioral uncertainty. By dealing directly with direct large fleet customers, tire suppliers can obtain related information about the performance of tire dealers. As for the environmental uncertainty, tire suppliers would obtain some specific customer-related information, but would not obtain the broader market information or competitive information on the ground on a regional basis. In this sense, the information asymmetry still exists. So we think the direct dealing capability in tire suppliers would reduce opportunism by tire dealers in behavioral uncertainty. Firms' market power lies in the firm's market position, usually reflected by their market share and level of product differentiation. As explained in the overview of the US truck tire aftermarket, none of the brand has market-dominant power that curbs the opportunism of multi-brand tire dealers. The market orientation capability is the organization-wide generation of market intelligence on current and future customer needs, disseminating intelligence across department and organization-wide responsiveness. We can say that the responsiveness to large customers' requirement of direct deal strengthens the market orientation capability of tire suppliers. Neighboring independent tire dealers compete to service the regions around the locations for truck users with whom the tire suppliers have direct business. So tire suppliers' coordination between distributors could minimize the level of their competition. Such collaborative activities provide an opportunity to identify common interests, establish a group identity, and prevent opportunism. Among these mentioned in this page, we find that market orientation capability and the suppliers' coordination to distributors to soften the competition with a horizontal network would reduce opportunistic behavior by tire dealers. Through the case study of the US truck tire aftermarket, we identify the factors that reduce opportunism by independent dealers. The market orientation capability and coordination of competitive relationship between a horizontal network of tire dealers. Significantly, tire suppliers direct dealing with large truck fleet customers, which allows from customers' needs, reduce the tire suppliers, tire dealers' opportunism. This trend of suppliers direct contact with end customers and contactless shopping may change the present user, supplier, and distributor relationship and each value proposition. The adoption of direct digital technologies would accelerate this trend. Although direct dealing with end customers may reduce distributors' opportunism, it is also essential to recognize that there are conditions in suppliers' capabilities to enable direct dealing. Through the analysis of the case study, we find that the TCE perspective in the mechanism of opportunism will help understand the interest of involved parties. However, this study is on a single industry case based. The next stage of our research is to substantiate the implications made through this study and test them by applying them to other automotive parts after-sales segments. This page will list up the references. We thank you very much for your attention.